Kojo, Kojo, Kojo.
It's an amazing festival. It connects people from different parts of the country.
Everyone should come here and enjoy.
Kojo, Kojo, Kojo.
I think this is one of the opportunity for youngsters, for the children from the country who are in Delhi.
Kojo, Kojo.
Hello, and welcome to this session of Z Earth. And Hari and I are very happy to be part of this session on Z Earth, a culture fest. And this session is going to be a very interesting session. It's a story of zero itself. How did the zero come to be? So we will just take you through a small story, walkthrough through a presentation. And I will just share a few slides with you in a moment.
What we have done here in Bharat Gyan, among the various subjects that you have studied, about 108 different subjects of India, one of them is mathematics. If you look at the subject mathematics, what we call in English, it's got an Indian name for it. It's called Ganitam. And the word Ganitam, the word Ghana, has got multiple meanings. One of them means heavy, weighty. And the word Ganitam also means numbers. That's why we have the word Ganana, to count. So numbers. And let's look at how India has contributed to the world with numbers. And here today, especially in the zero. Here we have one of the top scientists of the world, Albert Einstein, who speaks very positively about the contribution of India, where he says we owe a lot to the Indians who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile scientific discovery could have been possible. So it was, as you can see from this famous quote of Einstein, that it was the numbers that India shared with the world, which was a big stepping stone, not only to counting, but to any scientific discovery thereon.
And you can see the zero around his face.
Around his face, that's why we put that there. And here we have another very famous Australian anthropologist and historian. He wrote a book called The Wonder That Was India. Many years back, some 4 or 5 decades back, he wrote the book, where he says that the Western world, which we think is the world of science, the debt they owe to India, especially in the field of mathematics, cannot be overestimated. And he goes on to say in the 4th and 5th line, he says that none of the great discoveries and inventions that we know of today would have been possible without the developed system of mathematics that India shared with the world. And from there he says, because if you look at what Europe had before India shared its numerals, is they had only 5 numbers. What are the 5 numbers they had? They had 1, that is I, then they had V for 5, then they had X for 10, and then they had C for 100, that is century or centum, and they had M for 1000. So can you add, subtract, count, multiply with these 5 digits, with an I, a V, an X, a C, and M? Impossible. You can't even think how you can add and subtract and count with those. It will not be possible. So it was the Indian system of mathematics, the numbers, which gave this flexibility for science. And interestingly, if you see, we spoke about the Roman numbers being 5, right? I, V, X, C, and M. There's no number for 0 in it. That's because they did not know 0. 0 did not exist in their world then. It was India who gave 0 to the world. Let's see how the story of zero now, how zero came about. And it's a very recent story, hardly 500 years old story. While the civilization goes back very long, this number is very new. Let's see. When zero was first
New to the Western world.
new to the Western world,
It went to Europe only around 500 years ago.
let's see how it went. Look, this is a very famous painting of in Rome, Italy, where it says how when zero was introduced, it was very strange for them because they had not come across zero before that. Because look at this, they were asking this question, what is this digit? It means nothing at all. But it's a crazy number. For if you put something before zero, something, if you put zero before something, it's got no value. But if you put the same zero after a digit, it's got all the value. For example, here if you see in the screen here, if you put 03, 0 has no value. But if you put 30, it's got value 30. If you put 300, it becomes 300. 300, for them, it was a very powerful number, but yet incomprehensible. That is why we have here a French writer of the 15th century, that is about 500 years back. What does he write? He says, zero is a sign which creates confusion and difficulties. Because they couldn't understand the number, that's a French saying for that. And when it came, there was enormous resistance in Europe for this number zero. And because there was resistance, because people could not understand this number zero, what did they say? It was a creation of the devil. And they just made fun of it. They ridiculed the number itself and anybody who spoke about the number zero. And here's of one famous scholar who says, some scholars who could correctly interpret zero and used it for their computations, but still it created confusions in their mind, something full of contradictions that only a few learned men could understand, and even just barely. So zero became very profound for them. So anybody who could understand zero was a man of wisdom. Anybody who could use zero was a man of wisdom. Whereas if you look at this in India, at the same time, it was all the school children using zero and commonly using zero. And look at this famous painting. This painting is called actually Arithmeticae. This is a painting that was made there in the 1500s. And if you look at this painting, it's got two components. One, the center is this lady Arithmeticae, like how in law, in the courts, in the lawyer's profession, you have a lady holding the balance with her eye tied. Similarly, here is a painting of the lady Arithmeticae, where there are two people sitting in front of her. One is a person from south. He's warm, so his body, his dress is more open. And he's working with Indian numerals here. Whereas here on the right-hand side, you have a person who is from the north, who is cold. So his dress is all with a covered dress, and where he's working with the abacus board. So this is the painting that shows when the Indian numerals were actually introduced to Italy, the Roman Empire. Then, look at this original painting that we had taken up. So the earlier one was just a cleared up painting. This is the original painting. So that's there. And if you go on to this, look at this. It was in this particular year, 1543, that is just about less than 500 years ago, that the Indian numerals, including zero, was first accepted by Rome, by Italy. Look at the year that they put there, VDMIE. So they're talking about 1543 was the time that the Indian numerals, including zero, was accepted in Europe as a valid system of calculation, writing, and everything. So it's only from this all sciences developed and everything progressed from this, because this was at the beginning of the Renaissance. Because if you look at the different era that Europe went through, Renaissance was a big era, but suddenly everything opened up. Sciences opened up, new discoveries were made, new inventions were made, and everything opened up. The fundamental factor that helped make all this happen in a big way was the Indian numerals and zero. I think we Indians should be very proud of it. And here, this is the International Encyclopedia, which very clearly says that how we make the use of zero and the decimal system opened up the whole window of not only maths, but the whole of science.
But for them, it was introduced to them through the Arab traders who were taking it with them when they went from India. So the Europeans, though they were having an idea about the numbers 1 to 9, they could not understand 0 as it affected considerably all of their thinking processes. This is a entry in the International Encyclopedia of Communications from the Oxford University Press.
And
So-
actually, one more thing I want to say here. One more thing I want to say here. Earlier we spoke about A.L. Basham. He says something very nice. He says, he makes a quote and says that it was, actually if you can go back to the quote, you can show that A.L. Basham makes this quotation there. He says here, after Buddha, look here, he says, from the world's point of view, after Buddha, the biggest contributor from India is a man who gives 0 to the world. He gives it that much importance. But actually, I was talking to my friends, what they say is, it was actually the number one man who should give importance to the person who gave us 0 as the number one person who helped open the window of maths, science, calculation, everything thereon from that. Yeah. And if you speak calendar.
So again, in the entry in the encyclopedia, if you see, they say that moreover, their calendar had never any 0 year, though they claimed that their calendar started from BC. So for them, 0 was an intellectual obstacle, fundamentally. There are many people, scientists who have written about that, but more interesting, we will see how did this 0 go from India all the way to Europe and come to be called 0.
Look at this. It starts in India as Shunya.
And this is the first recorded instance that you can find where mathematical 0 is equated with Shunya. But the idea of Shunya goes back far into the Vedic period itself, where it starts with the concept of creation. So the way, see, maths, and at some point, while maths at one end is used for numbers and calculations and so on, it progresses gradually and at one point actually transcends into philosophy. They go, they
Hand in
blend
hand.
very beautifully into higher levels of logic and
They
philosophy.
intertwine.
So the very question of how did this universe come to be from nothing at all. So whether you take the Indian thought, where Indian thought spoke about a Big Bang, actually, Brahmanda Visphota, from a nothing but everything called Hiranya Garbha. The word Hiranya Garbha means golden womb. Hiranya means golden, Garbha is like a womb. So it is like the same equivalent thought of the cosmic egg theory, which is how we talk about creation today in the modern world, was what was there in the Veda many thousands of years ago as well. And this idea of that nothing but everything of the Hiranyagarbha was represented as the Shunya. And
Look at the shape of
interestingly-
it. Look at the shape. You understand the shape. See, we've got different numbers. Whereas for 0, how did you get that shape?
And interestingly, it is not just about what came out of it, but how everything in Indian thought goes back into Shunya, into the same nothingness as well, so that it can start another cycle of creation again. So that there is that little bit of fundamental difference between the thought of creation in Indian and the Western thought. But this Shunya starts its journey all the way from there. And in 6th century texts, they have found, so which is why they say in 6th century, we have Shunya in Sanskrit. But it has been there for many thousands of years, even before that. And after that, during the trade that was happening in the first millennium, there was a lot of trade between India and Arabia. We have written a lot about it in our mini book called Indo-Arabia, which will also come out as a full-fledged book. Now, this trade, the Arabic traders, they took this idea with them because they were dealing with numbers and counting as part of their trade. So this idea went to Arabia, and in the 9th century in Arabia, it was called Sifr.
From Shunya, the word comes from Shunya, it becomes Sifr there, as it travels across the seas, over the ship, and across centuries. So Shunya becomes Sifr.
And there is actually mention about one of the Indian scholars called Kanaka, who helped translate, who went westwards to Baghdad, and who helped translate these mathematical texts into Arabic texts, and the concept of these numbers, numeral system, zero, it does actually was understood by the Arabic world. And from there on, they took it in their language further into Europe.
So-
Which is why for Europe, when they trace back these numbers, they trace it up to the Arabic texts.
But the Arabic text in turn trace it back to India. So that's the source.
And they mention that very
Clearly. So they call it actually in Arabia for mathematics, they have a word, it's called
Hindsa.
Hind-sa, meaning from India. That's what, so they don't use the word arithmetics or mathematics. For them, the word they use is Hind-sa, meaning from India. Now, look, going back to Sifr, in Arabia, when you use Sifr, when the word went from Arabia across the Mediterranean Sea into Greek and Latin, Europe, Greek and Latin, what it became is Sifra or Zephram. And from there, from Italy, from Sifra, when it went to France, it became Cipher. And in Italian, it became Zevro, and Zero. And in German, if you see, it becomes Ziffer. And finally, when it crosses from France across London, it becomes zero. See how the word Shunya traveled across centuries, across seas, across generations, and the word morphed itself to become zero. But the shape of zero, the concept of zero, continued right through in mathematics. It's a wonderful contribution of the Indian civilization, of the Indian mind to the world thought. And we should proudly say it's a brand of India. So Shunya or zero is a brand that India has shared with the world. Like people have brands these days, but that's a brand of India.
And here again, if you really look at it, Shunya to Sifr in Arabic. See, we are all, especially those who know Hindi, will be familiar with the word sirf, only, just, so you can easily see. And of course, a lot of times, the word, sometimes the letter, syllable, sometimes can get interchanged. So sirf and zifr, you can see how the morphing has happened.
Very nice. And if you look northeast of India, there's China. They also did not have a syllable for it. So what did they do? When they had to use zero, they left a vacant space. And it was only about 800 years back, for the first time, you find zero in China. They have a same syllable for it because it went along with the Buddhists, like also Xuanzang and Fa Hian, everybody. It went there with all the Buddhist scholars, and then it became a number there. And she's already spoken about Kanaka, where about 1,300 years back, he took it from Ujjain to the court of, to the Caliph of Baghdad, and he explained it. This has been recorded by Ginsberg, a German mathematician. So we see here how it is zero and all other numerals along with the signs that have traveled over the last few hundred years from India and gone westward. So it is it's a journey that's taken, a journey that as proudly we have shared with the world, and to make the world knowledgeable. And actually, this is a particular text, it's called Al-Arkan Al-Hind, where they very clearly say, while it is looked at as Arabic for the Europeans, the Arabs themselves got it from Indian numbers. That's why it's called Al-Arkan Al-Hindu. That's the name of the text, which very clearly self-claims it. It's an Arabic text. And if you look at this going back, many people have erroneously told us it is Aryabhatta who gave us zero. No, Aryabhatta lived...
Normally we are used to very loosely saying Aryabhatta invented zero. He did not invent zero. He used zero. He made it popular in his texts. And we are able to today find a lot of mention in his works. So which is why he is so closely associated with zero. But like I said, it is going all the way back. There is...
Actually, if you look at it, which is very nice. So Aryabhatta also used zero. One of the early people used zero, but many others have used much before him, because Aryabhatta has been 1,500 years ago. 300 years before his time, in Punjab, there is a place called Bakshali. And in Bakshali, what happened was, there in a farm, during the British times, they found a document. It is called the Bakshali document, where 0 is very clearly shown as a number. So this is 300 years before Aryabhatta. Like that, we have got this number of places. You want to read something in the book, you can do it. So, and the word Shunya is there in all the Indian texts. Repeatedly, you get the word Shunya mentioned. It's a beautiful idea, and it is there in Atharva Veda also, and in the Bakshali document. And we not only use one word for 0. Actually, we look at the number of words we use for 0. Shunya, Ka, Gagana, that's a sky, Ambara, Akasha, Vyoma, Antariksha, Naba, so Purna. So we have a range of words to describe 0, to express 0 in multiple forms at multiple situations. So we had an alphanumerical concept also of it. So this is so beautiful that India really expounded on 0. And look at this particular Samhita in the Rig Veda. It was compiled, not composed, compiled about 5,100 years ago, where they mention 0 in a shloka. If you try to understand the shloka, it shows 0 as 432000. Look at how many times it says. You got 4 zeros in that, each one with a different name. Vivya,
Via, sky, Dambara, atmosphere. I mean, Via, Dambar, Akasha, Shunya, Yama, Rama, Veda. So if you just break up those words, Ambara means atmosphere, Akasha is space, Shunya as a void, Yama as a primordial couple, and Rama. They have different numbers. So, the idea was in India, numbers were also correlated with popular concepts. So, for instance, if you say Veda 4, because people knew Veda means 4. So, if I use the word Veda, it means 4. So, like that, concepts were interlinked with words to represent numbers as well. So, you might kind of call it like a code, like a...
it is an alphanumeric way of expression. That's what it was. Okay. If you go back, it says, actually, see, you want to read out something?
Yeah.
She'll read out something now from the book for a couple of minutes. This is our book called Brand Bharat. We wrote how 0 is a brand of India, and it's got some pages where it shows how it came. One of the earliest mentions of 0, if you see, is in the Chaturbhuja temple in the Gwalior fort.
And this temple, this fort, actually, it goes back to 876 CE. And in this temple, you will find... so this is the book that we have, Roots in India.
Brand Bharat. It's part of our autobiography of India. Go ahead. Just show this temple.
In fact, I can even show you this temple. This is a temple in Gwalior, dating to 9th century. And here they found one of the earliest evidences of the symbol 0 having been used. So there is a 0 here. You can see here how they have written with 0 here.
This is with regard to the land records as to how people have donated land to the temple for its upkeep. So it is in that perspective, people have donated.
And these are the Bakshali numbers, the manuscript, Bakshali manuscript.
Document, that's a Bakshali document.
So you can clearly see how we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the numbers. So just to conclude, we have very nicely said, this idea actually is very nice for us to kind of talk about when you want to jokingly say, nothing went from India. But in this nothing went from India is everything that has gone from India in terms of numbers and maths. The Indians offered to the world the name Shunya for 0, an explanation for the concept of 0, and the symbol 0 for 0, symbol of a round circle. So 0 is truly a brand of Bharat. If among the many brands of Bharat, only a few are to be placed on her tiara, then 0 certainly will find a central place there.
Tiara is a crown.
Bharat came to be known for nothing. Nothing is a brand of India. So that is a very exciting story of Zero as to how it starts with nothing, becomes everything. So it goes into the story of creation, and also it's the story of travel and the development of science all over the world. So with that, we
We'd
come
like
to
to-
the end of this story about
Nice
Zero.
small story of Zero.
So
how it's traveled
if
across
there are
the-
any questions, then we'll be happy to take them. So looks like there aren't many. I think it is a fairly short session, but feel free if you have any doubts. You can always reach us at bharatgyan@gmail.com. Please note it is BHARATHGYAN@gmail.com. So you can always write to us and we'll be happy to reply back to you. And there are a lot of short films on Zero and all these different numbers that have gone from India on our YouTube channel as well, with the same Bharat Gyan, BHARATHGYAN. You can see them under the playlist Amazing India. So
Thank
thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Namaste.